Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is Gino Morrow, your current president for FAMP, and I'm joined here today with our vice president, Linda Knowlton, and our secretary, Nathaniel Bittman, to help facilitate the presentation. First, we want to thank everyone for joining us for this great presentation, and I want to remind you all that FAMP is dedicated to our members. We have been offering these COVID-19 webinar updates since the beginning of this pandemic. And I want to let everyone know that if you are a member of FAMP, you can access the recording of this webinar on our website by logging in. I know there's a lot of content that can be used as a resource and you want to go back on it, and you do have that ability to do that if you are a member. If you are not a member, and I know there's quite a few of you on this call today, you will receive a promotional email that will allow you to join us for about $7 a month, so don't miss out on that opportunity and join our group and take advantage of everything FAMP has to offer. I also want to let you know that you will have an opportunity to ask some questions by typing them into the chat box. We will be monitoring those, and Linda and Nathaniel will be asking those questions at the end of the presentation as time permits. So at this time, I'm going to turn this over to Linda to go ahead and introduce our speakers and begin our presentation. And before I do that, I just want to remind everyone that this is a sponsored event. We're very fortunate. Essen sponsored this event today, and Candace Racine is on the call with us. She's a 25-year veteran who's currently Essen's regional vice president managing their Southeast region. And Candace and her team cover clients all the way from Virginia down to Florida, and she resides in Tampa. So I just want to turn it over to Candace for just a moment, and then we'll go ahead and let Linda introduce our panelists. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Gino, and thank you for the opportunity to be here today to sponsor this great event with Kendra Cook. In the essence of time, I just wanted to show you a couple of things on our website. Essen Guarantee, for those of you who don't know, is a private mortgage insurance company. So we help homeowners get into homes with less than 20% down. So we're headquartered in Pennsylvania. I'm here in Tampa, like he said, and as you see on your screen right now, this is the Florida team. So I have 11 people on my team. What I wanted to do today was show you a few things on our website, just in essence of time. If you go to essen.us, you'll see our website. And the first thing I'm going to show you is how to get a rate quote. Most of you are probably quoting either through your own origination system, maybe your lender's system. But if you just need to get a generic PMI quote, you can go to our rate finder. You click on the word rates and then you launch the rate finder. Now, the first time you go in, it's going to ask for your email address. You can see it didn't pop up for me here because obviously my email address is already registered. It does need to be a company email address, not a personal email address. So all of the mortgage insurance companies, now that we've done away with rate cards, have what we call risk-based pricing engine. The good thing there for all of you is that we give the best price possible for each individual borrower and scenario. So if you go through here and you enter different, loan data, it allows you to add, a number of borrowers. And the one thing I wanted to point out is you have the ability with our system to compare multiple products. So not only multiple mortgage insurance products, but also FHA. So if you're wondering, should I put my borrower in a conventional loan or a government loan, you can compare here. And then you can see over here, you can click on get rate. So that's how you would do a rate quote in our system. And then the other thing I wanted to show you, a couple other things, is going back to our web page. If you click on tools and resources, down here there's a section for home buyers. So, probably one of the more frequent questions we get is, how long does the borrower have to keep their MI on their loan? And I just want to remind everybody, as mortgage insurance companies, we don't dictate that. Think of us as like an auto insurance policy. We keep the policy in force as long as we receive payments, and we cancel the policy whenever the servicer requests us to. So in here, there's information for the homeowner, why PMI, talks about the Homeowners Protection Act. There's a lot of good things here that you can refer them to. So save this link, why PMI, and it will help you with your consumers. The other thing on here that's kind of a neat tool that Essen developed probably about 4 years ago, and we call it Essen IQ. It was developed for millennials, with millennials in mind. It's very kind of infographic, if you will, as you change information. The information over here at the side changes. This tool comes in Spanish and in English. So you have Habla Español. What this is an opportunity cost tool. That's the best way to explain it. It's not a pre-qual tool. There are a lot of pre-qual tools out there. What this does is allows a potential home buyer to look at the cost of renting versus owning, and shows them basically what they're leaving on the table in the form of equity. The nice thing about this is once they complete the information, or if you complete the information, you can print a PDF form right over here to the right. And that PDF form, this document can be co-branded. So you can put your logo on it. You could put your realtor's logo on it. So for originators, it's a good tool to take out there to your realtors. For realtors that are thinking about doing a first-time home buyer seminar, this is a great tool to have. It's a free tool. I've had we demoed it actually at NAR, the National Association of Realtor Convention, when we first came out with it. And we had a lot of people ask how much it costs, because the realtors really like the tool. And obviously it's free, it's a public tool. They can put the link on their website. So just kind of something to think about if you're thinking about something different and how to reach those first-time home buyers. The other thing I wanted to show you, just go back to our main webpage, the very last thing before I turn it over to our speaker, is the training section that we have. We have a class calendar, so all of our training is free, which is probably true for most of the mortgage insurance companies. All of the training is free. So if you have someone that you're hiring that's newer to the business, please check out the training website. There's a list of our classes, but one thing that we do have that some of the others don't is an e-learning section. So all of these classes are the classes that are recorded. So it's self-paced learning. You can revisit them, replay them. You can see here there's classes on operational stuff. There's classes on sales. This is probably our most popular class right here, LinkedIn, and we have it in 3 parts. With the pandemic, everybody working from home, with social media and millennials being top of mind in 2020, this has been the most recently most popular requested class. So please make sure you check out that. I showed you the flyer at the beginning of our Florida team. You can find their contact information on our website as well. But if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to any of us. And again, we appreciate the opportunity to be here today. And now I'm going to turn it over to our speaker. Or Linda, to introduce our speaker.
Yes. This is Linda Knowlton. I have the extreme honor to introduce Kendra Cook. But first, I want to thank you, Candace, and thank Essen for supporting this today and sponsoring this. Essen is a longtime supporter of FAMP, and we sincerely appreciate it. Kendra Cook, she is a senior real estate coach for Core Training, Inc. Core helps real estate agents and mortgage lenders accumulate wealth, net more income, and run more efficient teams and businesses. Originally from Southern Illinois, Kendra calls Tennessee her home, but resides in North Carolina. She has 30 years of experience in real estate and has helped serve over 100 families annually, as well as supporting many nonprofit organizations. As a result of being in the Core's coaching program, she tripled her production and her net worth increased by 1,000%. Since Kendra has a strong belief in paying it forward, she has decided to become a full-time real estate coach to help others achieve the same results, if not greater. We have real estate agents as well as mortgage originators on the call today, Kendra, so we are looking so forward to hearing you. So I am going to just turn it right over to you.
Well, thank you guys so much. You're in one of my favorite states in Florida. I visit there frequently. My mentor and coach lives in Florida, so I spend some time down there with her. So I want to thank you guys so very much for this opportunity. And I want to jump right in because I think that, not that I have a lot to say, but that I have a lot to say. So I'm going to jump in. And of course, my phone hasn't rang all day and now it starts ringing. So I just turned the volume off. I apologize. But obviously, we're all in a very strange time. It seems like every day something different happens where the pandemic either spikes or something happens and it adjusts our business. And so I have spent probably since March, when we went into quarantine, really trying to figure out and to help our students how to get through this pandemic, how to adjust and pivot their businesses, whether they're a realtor or a lender. So as Linda said, we are a coaching company. I'll share our website at the end if you're interested in getting more information. But right now I want to make sure that I hit 3 really big topics for you. So right now, the first one I want to talk about is how do we get more done? Coming out of the pandemic, the lenders that are on this call, obviously, are probably, most of those are busier than they've ever been, right? We've got the refi boom, the rates are low. So they're probably in an all-time high. A lot of people breaking records. We coach people in about 37 states around the US, so most of our lenders are breaking records. A lot of our realtors have been home and having to learn to show houses differently. Now that some of those rules are loosening up a little bit, they're able to get back out and show houses. So they too are getting very busy. And what we find out is we go from 0 to 100 if you're a driven person really quick. And so one of the things that we focus on in the core is balance. We want to make sure that we take people, I'm a victim of working 80 hours a week in the start of my career. And we want to take people who are unbalanced, working too many hours, and say, let's give you some bumpers, if you will, to make sure that you're not working too many hours. So I'm going to give you 4 really quick tips on that. And then we're going to jump into developing relationships that you already have, how to make those better. And then give you lenders some opportunities to chase some new real estate partners. And now that I know there's some realtors on here, I'm going to give you some nuggets about your VIP group. So let's jump in. Tips for time management. The very first thing you have to do is set a start time and a go home time. And realtors are super guilty of this because we don't have somebody saying clock in at this time. Lenders have a little more discipline around that. But when we're making hay, I'm a farm girl, when we're making hay, we make it while the sun's shining. So we find out that we break those bumpers, we break those barriers that we set for ourselves of a start time and a go home time, and we just go until we can't go anymore. Really bad idea. Face burnout. Obviously, we don't want to leave our loved ones thinking that they're not important, maybe getting irritable with your clients or your team members. So very important, have a start time and a go home time. Secondly, stick to a time block schedule. There's a lot of information out there about what is a time block schedule, how do I do one. So if you don't have one, first of all, you got to do one. And I'll give you some quick tips around that. First and foremost, you have to take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to be good for anyone else. So some quiet time, meditation time, time in prayer, whatever your spiritual growth, mind relaxation is, make sure that you put those on there. Physical training, whatever, something to take care of yourself. Then obviously some quiet time with your spouse, your spouse or partner, loved ones. You got to have some time on there, whether that's a Sunday afternoon or a morning at church, something that takes care of the family and fills that need. And then the third most important thing you have to put on there is prospecting. Prospecting. The toughest part, and we're going to talk about this in one of these next sections, is when we get busy, we seem to forget that that too will pass, and there will come a time when we have to go back and prospect again. So what happens is the first thing we take off of our schedule is we're super busy, we don't need any more business, so we stop prospecting. And I'm going to tell you that's the third most important thing that has to be on your schedule every day, which leads me to the third thing. Never, ever cancel your power hour. This is for anybody listening to this, even an office administrative staff. They can always be looking for opportunities to help us grow our business too. But what happens is when we're lead generating or we're really busy, we take that off our schedule. So what that looks like is, oh my gosh, I had my best month ever. Oh my gosh, I'm realtor of the month or I'm lender of the month in my office. And then the next month we're wondering, how in the world are we going to pay our bills, right? And so we have this up and this down and this up and this down. And as Linda said when she introduced me, we're very focused on financial freedom for you guys in the program that here at the core. And so what we want is a little more consistency. We have some bumps in the road, we get that, but we don't want the spikes and the highs and lows. And I'll give you a couple of examples why you don't want that. Number one, you can't hire for that, right? You can't be understaffed one month and overstaffed the other, right? It just doesn't work. The second thing is the financial piece. You can't afford people this month and then you can afford them the next month, and you can't afford them this month, you can't afford them the next month. Therefore, you can't budget, okay? I know it sounds crazy with everything that we hear in the media that this we can't balance this budget. We can't spend this money. We're overdrawn here. Listen, we have to live by a budget. It eliminates stress. It eliminates divorce. It eliminates chaos. Nobody likes to hire people and then fire them. So the power hour is mandatory. Mandatory outbound calls or face-to-face appointments can never come off of your schedule. Okay. Remember, we're talking about time management tips. You keep those on there, you prospect consistently, you have a great consistent business moving forward. All right. And the last one, I mentioned it when we were talking about time block schedule, you have to take care of yourself. The average realtor, and I don't know what the average number is for a loan officer, but somebody probably does, but the average realtor stays in the business 2.4 years. 2.4 years is a national statistic. And that is because they burn themselves out, or number two, they don't know where to start, right? Number three, or they chase all of the wrong things that cost too much money and they run out of resources to stay in business. So first and foremost, you have to take care of yourself. Okay, so again, some time for yourself in something that you love, a habit, pursuing mental strength. In this pandemic, a lot of my coaching has been around mindset, right? How do I not burn out? How do I stay in touch with my database and not look desperate? How do I continue to make my calls and not look like I'm greedy? I mean, a lot of mindset. How do we get out of this? How do I take care of my team? How do I manage my team when they're home, working on a Zoom call versus sitting in my office where I can hand stuff off? Listen, you have to take care of yourself first. So if you listen to these 4 tips and you're like, gosh, I'm really struggling with doing something for myself, that would be my suggestion, that you take care of that right away. Or that consistency thing that she talked about with business, that's me. Get your power hour back in your schedule. So a time block schedule is very easy. Take the hours that you're going to work in the day, your start time and your go home time, plug those in. And then you have to block the time between the start and the end time of what you want to accomplish during the day. So power hours, office meetings, showing houses, processing files, whatever it is, and block it out in hours. Now, here's the key to the perfect time block schedule is have a buffer in the morning and have a buffer in the afternoon. 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes in the afternoon. Because, in the South, we all know there's fires, right? So there's going to be a file that's going to come up that's going to have a fire. You're going to have to jump in and save it. You're going to have to make extra calls. You're going to have to do something. If you time block yourself so tight that you don't have time to take care of those, one appointment's going to lead into the other. You're going to disappoint or hurt somebody's feelings because you're late. We don't want to be disrespectful to someone else's time. No offense, realtors, but we are the worst with time management. So if you can learn to live in and breathe through your time block schedule, I promise you will make more money and you will get more referrals. All right. So that's my topic number 1. That's how you're going to get more done coming out of this pandemic, is just a little bit more around your time management. All right. The second topic I want to talk about is how do you deepen the relationships that you already have with your realtors. Okay, so I'm going to speak to the lenders for a moment, and then I'm going to speak to the realtors in the room. Lenders, as far as your real estate partners, how do we keep those relationships going coming out of the pandemic? Maybe you haven't seen them for a few months, maybe you've talked to them, but how do we get deepen those relationships and make sure that going forward, they know that we want to be their lender partner? The very first one I'm going to tell you is consistency is key. Communication, consistent communication is key. Number one complaint that I hear from realtors that I coach right now is, I'm not important to my lender. My files aren't getting processed fast enough because they have so many refis. I want to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, that we have all, I've been doing this 32 years, so we've all seen good refi markets. We've all seen the downturn of 8, 9, and 10. We've seen the REO bust. If you've been around a while, you've seen the ups and the downs. The one thing that is consistent are your real estate partners. They are going to be with you when the refi market is gone. Okay, so I want to make sure that you have some consistent communication with them. And how we do that is I'm going to give you a couple ideas for you to do that if you aren't already in that position. Number 1, go with a giving hand. Go with a giving hand. Give them something, teach them something, give them a tool or a tactic that makes their business better. Okay, so that could look like, hey, I just heard this class about how to time block. I picked up 4 tips. I'd love to sit down and help you with your time management, because as the pandemic kind of hopefully rides off into the sunset, which is what we're all praying for, and we get back to normal, I want to make sure your time stays, in line with what you want it to be. That would be going with a giving hand, right? Helping someone read a book, do a book club with them. Couple of my favorites I'll give you is Who Moved My Cheese, okay? The first time I read Who Moved My Cheese, I read it from a perspective of I was always going to find the business. Okay, let me get the business. If you don't know about the book, you read it. It's about 90 pages. It's a great book. You can't do what you've always done and get the same result. We have to change and move, right? That's a great book for realtors, okay? I've read it probably 10 times. Most recently, I read it during the pandemic with some of my students. And what I realized is I've got to program myself to go where the business is going, not where it's been. So that would be a great book to read with your realtors if you're a lender. Another one is Raving Fan. We all want to create relationship-based businesses that generate referrals with us. Listen, there's not a better business in the world than for somebody to tell, somebody else to use your services. There's no amount of money you can pay for that, because the truth of the matter is that's just it. We don't pay for it. So if we take great care of them, that's a gift you could give a realtor, how to set up a Raving Fan referral-based business. Brilliant, right? So give them something, teach them something. That is a great way to deepen your relationship with your VIP real estate partners. Number 3, offer to do a virtual event with their database or some of their clients. Listen, guys, there's so many questions out in the market. I'm in the industry, and I mean, you can turn on the TV and I can get super overwhelmed with, no, jumbos can't do this. Yes, jumbos can't do that. Now we're not doing this. Now we're doing that. So much stuff coming at us all the time that I'm sure the general public who doesn't do this on a daily basis would love for an expert to say, now's a great time to do X, Y, and Z. If you have bad credit, here's how you clean it up. If you have good credit and your rate is under this, it's a good time to refinance. Give them something of value. That would be beneficial to a realtor to host a Zoom call, and you as the expert lender to come on that call with me 15, 20 minutes, not to overload, but just to break down some things that we're seeing in the news that might be confusing. Maybe you would get a deal, and hopefully it would generate some leads for your real estate partner. And the third thing, whether you like it or you don't, I love it when people say the internet's, not really here to stay. The internet's here to stay. So whether we like it or not, so many people shop online before they ever pick up the phone, okay? You want to build a better relationship with your VIP. Go give them a testimony, review, whatever you want to call it, on Google or Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever. Give them some exposure about the relationship that you know that they provide to clients, okay? Zillow, wherever you want to put it. But what an honor for a realtor to receive some kudos from one of my lender partners that says, hey, I sent her someone, or I did a deal with her, this is what happened. It looks wonderful in the eye of the public, because that's where they're going to shop. Let's be honest, I'm a little nervous about what open houses are going to look like in the future, right? I'm in North Carolina on the weekends. I ride my bike, and I don't see a ton of open houses like I used to. Open house pointer signs. We're going to do business different, right? So if a realtor was going to use open houses, you could partner with them, host the event with them. That's another great tactic. But I don't know what open houses are going to look like going forward. So we as realtors are going to have to find other ways to generate leads. And I think a lot of that is going to be off the internet. So you could help them get a better internet presence, give them a really good testimonial that may help them generate some more leads for them. Okay. Now, I'm going to switch gears for just a second, and I'm going to talk to our real estate friends. We too have a VIP group. And let me tell you who's in your VIP group. Okay. Your VIP group should be businesses that have a book of business like we do. We have a database. They would have a book of business, a database that could help you look for people who are buying or selling real estate. Now, my best gift I could give you today, maybe a couple of them as a real estate agent, is the first person you should talk to is the person who manages your money, your financial planner, okay? We all know that the biggest buying population for years and years, buyers and sellers, in the housing market was baby boomers, right? So baby boomers have been the biggest buying and selling population. And now, what are baby boomers doing? They're downsizing. They're pulling their houses, pulling their money out of their houses, putting it in the market, buying second homes, preparing themselves for their next journey, next chapter, right? So the first place they go is to talk to their financial planner. Hey, if I sell my luxury house and I drop down and buy a smaller house, what would we do with this money? What's the tax benefits? What's the ramifications, right? You're going to go to the financial planner. So you as a realtor need to contact your personal financial planners, the first place to start, and say, hey, I'd love to talk to you about if there's a way for us to partner together. If somebody comes in, they're going to talk to you about selling the house and downsize or move away, and they don't have a real estate partner, would you mind recommending me or connecting me to them? Okay. Listen, that financial planner wants that house to sell as fast as the seller does, and you do, because if they're going to get some more money to put in the market, obviously that's how they're going to get paid. Okay, so that's a great resource for you to look for some listings, some buyers. Secondly, if you don't work the estate or probate attorneys in your marketplace, I think you're missing a really big opportunity. These attorneys are just as anxious to sell these properties as we are, so they can settle these estates and be paid. A lot of times they will contact a realtor who they know that can get the job done. And when I say get the job done, you need to think about an estate sale or an estate selling an estate property is a little bit more than the sign in the yard. So if you're a single agent and maybe don't have a good depth and team wise, it may not be a good fit for you. But if you are somebody who's listening to this, you have some other people on your team, you have some good worker bees, that would be a good place for you to look for listings. And what I mean by that is when the attorney, contacts you and you work out the agreement to list this property, a lot of times we're responsible for getting the yard cut until it closed, turning the utilities on, maybe trashing out the property, maybe getting some repairs done so they'll get a better price. So you've got to have those people in your hip pocket to help them move that process along. The attorney really doesn't want to deal with all that. Okay, so another place to go look for some listings. And then the third place I want to tell you, I'm married, thank God, love my husband, but divorce. I did a lot of divorce. I worked for several divorce attorneys, and they're always looking for a third party unbiased opinion to present comps when they have a client come in, right? 99% of the time they're going to sell the house, and the husband doesn't want to work with the wife's friend, the wife doesn't want to work with the husband's friend, so they need a third party person. So these are just some of the people that would be on your VIP list. So when I talk about VIPs, I'm talking about people that could help you look for multiple opportunities in a year, okay? And we love on them, excuse the pun, but we love on them just like our lenders would love on us as a realtor. So you want to, again, talk to them about their business. Maybe they need some lead generation. Maybe you guys can do a Zoom call, a virtual event of some sort where they could pitch their business to your database. Read a book with them, grow their business, help them grow your business. Same thing, give them a review. So these things that I talk about in coaching that we talk about here at the core are pretty interchangeable with the tactics. If you haven't noticed, we're very tactical. So I'm not going to give you a bunch of motivational things and push you back out into the workplace and say, go have fun. I'm going to say, here's 4 steps to make a bigger, deeper relationship. And you can pick 1 or 2 and implement, and then go back and get 1 or 2 later. So this is kind of how we coach, to give you just an idea. We're very tactical. All right. Number three, we're moving on. How to pursue agents virtually during this pandemic. So speaking back to my lender friends, how do we go pursue new realtors? And for realtors and lenders listening, I'll give my disclaimer here. Lenders have the money. Realtors a lot of times have the client. So we want our lender to take great care of our clients, do what they do, and I will do my best to sell the house and bring a really good buyer to you. So kind of 2 different jobs here. Lender has the money, realtor has the client, but how do we marry those together, right? And so as a lender who's always looking for more opportunities, just as we as realtors are looking for them in our database and with our VIP ideas that I just gave you, the best way to get those is through what we call our triangle for trust, okay? And I'm gonna demonstrate it really quickly. It's a triangle, okay? So if I know Nathaniel and Nathaniel knows Eric, who's on this side, I want to leverage my relationship with Nathaniel to meet Eric, and then I will close the triangle. Okay, so what that looks like is Nathaniel calls me and says, hey, I have a client who needs to buy or sell real estate. Okay, so I would call Eric and use Nathaniel's name to close that connection. So Eric, how do you know Nathaniel? Oh, Nathaniel and I go way back. I've, longtime friend. He said you took great care of him. So I say, if you can trust Nathaniel, I hope you'll be able to trust me by the time this transaction is over. And I close the triangle. Okay, so what that looks like for a lender calling another realtor is the same thing. If I, as a realtor, know Nathaniel, who's also a realtor, and he wants to meet Eric, who I also know, then I could say, Nathaniel, call my friend Eric in my office, let him know I told you to call, and you close that triangle by connecting the dots of who knows who and how we know each other. Okay, I'll give you a really quick stat, and it's not to brag, but I want to give you guys a point. In 2016, before I moved to become a full-time coach and run our real estate coaching division here at the core, my team and I sold 363 houses in 365 days. We really tried to get 2 more. But I tell you that to tell you I've never bought a lead, ever. And all but 3 were either referred from my builder, new construction, VIPs, or database. 3 cold leads out of 363 sales. I don't cold call. Okay, so almost 100 million in volume with 363 sides and only 3 cold leads. They called me. I didn't find them. The reason I tell you that is when you get really good at connecting the dots, you don't have to cold call anymore. So I wish I could see hands of how many people you cold call, or if you do have to cold call, or you're chasing internet leads. That was just never the business model I wanted. So I figured out early in my career that if I could be a connector and I could be in my community and be plugged in to different organizations, I could use my relationships to leverage other relationships. And when you have a good reputation, you take care of your clients, people are willing to help you meet other people. So this is for realtors or lenders. If you were trying to meet business people, I just gave realtors some ideas for calling on attorneys. If you know somebody that knows that attorney, use the triangle for trust to get in the door. Okay, same thing for the lenders who are trying to meet realtors. Use the triangle for trust. No more cold calling, and that will help you get in the door. So I hope you guys will use that. So if I trust Nathaniel and Nathaniel trusts Eric, it's a good possibility we're all going to be able to work together. That's how you close the triangle, that we all know each other now. Okay, so I hope that's a big tip for you guys today. Number 2, how do we pursue business partners or real estate agents during the pandemic if we can't see them face to face, right? When the restaurants were closed, we couldn't go out. Listen, the best thing you can do is do a Zoom call or go to a webinar or FaceTime or Google Hangout. There's a bunch of them, right? So if you were able to close the triangle with someone in that scenario, if I got Eric interested in having lunch with me or having coffee with me, but we couldn't go do that, I could set up a Zoom appointment for 15 minutes. Hey, can I send you a calendar invite? We'll hop on Zoom, just get to know each other. If you haven't figured out I'm super relational, and you can see a lot of things in the back that who I am and what I do, right? I'm very family oriented. I'm a runner. These blue dragons up here, I am very competitive. We fight hard for these little blue dragons in our company. I'm a believer, in the Lord. I'm blessed. So when I can get on a Zoom call with somebody and I can see their body language, or I can see kind of how they're set up, I can see if we're going to be a good fit or not, right? So let me give you a scenario. Realtor or lender, super excited to meet somebody. You make a lunch appointment, you drive across town, it's 100 degrees outside, you get there, you buy them a $30, 2 salads and 2 waters or teas, $30, and the meeting was a total flop. And you're like, I would never work with that person, right? Just think of the time you lost, think of the money you spent, and think of how you could do it different. And so these Zoom appointments will allow you to say, hey, do we want to set a face-to-face, and do I want to spend money on that person when the opportunity presents itself? And I think that's where we have to go as this market changes. we're all going to have to find other ways to do business, but more efficiently and more affordable, right? So hopefully, if you're pursuing someone, agent or business partner, referral partner, VIP, whatever you want to call them, try setting the appointment on the call, then going face-to-face on the Zoom, and then going outside to set up the appointment before you spend the time to do that, okay? And then the last piece is a very organized follow-up system. Now, I am super organized and detailed in every aspect of my life, but I can tell you, I used to try to wing it and put everything up here, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll remember to send somebody a thank you note. Oh yeah, I'll remember to call them next week to see if they're ready to list. The truth of the matter is we're not. We can't hold everything up here. We're not that organized, right? So what happens is we get a good connection, we do the Zoom, maybe we talk about having lunch next month when things open up, and then it just falls through the cracks. So what I'm going to tell you, if you really want to pursue great relationships, you have to have consistent, dialed in, organized follow-up. And people say to me all the time, what does that look like? Okay, so we as realtors have a CRM, maybe top producer or follow-up boss or whatever you use, it doesn't matter, that you can launch an action plan. And I know the lenders have it too in the ones that they use, but you can launch an action plan that says, hey, I had lunch with Bob Jones, and every 3 days I want it to pop up on my computer to remind me to send him a handwritten note or send him, a free book, maybe Raving Fan or Who Moved My Cheese. We can do what we call cheesy gifts, and I send him a little $5 card for coffee or ice cream that says thanks a latte, right? So it's just a good drip follow-up system that keeps us in front of them and we stay top of mind, right? What we don't want to do is plant a lot of seeds and never go water them, because that's kind of what we do as salespeople. We plant a lot of seeds and then we get busy and we just turn our back on those seeds and we go over here to this garden and we work over here. And then when we go back over here, these people are like, where have you been, right? You told me you were going to call me, we never talked. You don't want to be that person, right? Communication is key, but the best word I've told you all day today is consistency. So you have to be consistent with your time management, power hours, personal time. You have to be consistent with your relationships. You've got to bring something to them, right? All the time, just something of value, okay? And number 3, you got to be consistent with your follow-up when you're pursuing new ones. They've got to build great rapport with you, and they can't do that if they only hear from you or talk to you every 6 months when you're desperate for a deal, all right? So hopefully those were 3 main topics that you guys can pull 1 or 2 things out of. And I want to wrap this up before I turn it back to Linda. I do a ton of these talks. I used to fly all over the country. Obviously, I haven't been flying since February. I miss it. I miss the belly-to-belly conversations and lots of questions afterwards. So I hope you are posing your questions for Linda to pitch back out to me. But if you have at some point in your career said, gosh, I really wish I had some accountability. I wish I had a plan to follow, basically kind of what we talked about, a little bit of our plan today. We want to talk to you, okay? So we have a 1-day really simple, inexpensive plan coming up, and it's our mega. It's a 1-day sales rally, August 7th. Go to our website, thecoretraining.com. Check it out. $249, 7 hours of what you got today, speaker after speaker after speaker. So there'll be 7 speakers, a lot of interaction Q&A, everything from building VIP list, cold calling, not cold calling, I'm sorry, calling, current client calling, what you say to your current clients to get more referrals, just time management, professional sales presentations. If those are things that you're looking for, we'd love to introduce you to us. Very inexpensive for $249. Visit us on the website, thecoretraining.com. It's August 7th, so mark your calendars. I'm going to turn it back over to you, Linda, and see if we can get some questions and make sure that we take care of everybody.
Okay, great, Kendra. Thank you so much. That was great content. Really, really helpful and informative. And just to remind everyone, use the chat box to send a question, but or any questions. We have a first question here. So, in relationships with realtors that have a great loyalty to a loan originator or to a banker, what's your best tip in trying to not break that loyalty, but to try to at least get 1 deal a month from that particular agent or team?
Great question. So I'm very transparent, so hopefully I don't offend anybody, but unfortunately every relationship gets disappointed or tainted at some point in time, right? So we're unfortunately one bad deal away from breaking up, right? So the best thing I could tell you is keep bringing value and just let them know, hey, I know you have a great relationship. I'm not asking to break that one up. I just want you to know that I'd love a chance. If they can't get the deal done, I'd like to be your backup. I'll be here in the wings when you need me, and continue to bring value. I will tell you the biggest, hardest thing for realtors, and I don't know that it will ever change, is we feel as realtors, we give the deal, give the deal, give the deal. It's like, what can the lender give back to me? Now, I kind of touched on this earlier. The lender has the money. So I've never really expected my lender to hand me leads, okay? What I expect my lender to do is take care of my clients, close on time, and send them back to me and let them know what a great realtor I am so we have a great relationship, right? So I get it. We as realtors say, gosh, we give them all these deals. When do they give us one? It's rare because the lender gets most of their deals from realtors, and that's your job, to build really good relationships with us. So as a lender, I would tell you, bring us something of value. I always say, if you can help me make more money, save time, or advance my career, I'm all ears. So I get that question a lot, like, how do I get in with a $90 million person who's closing 300 deals a year? That's how you get in with them. We're always looking to make more money, save more time, or advance our career. Maybe you know somebody that's looking for a realtor, then you could refer me. Or maybe you have a builder that's moving into the town and you've got an in, you could help me get in with them. Those are things as a realtor we look for in a lender. So as a lender, that's what you need to be working on with us, is dripping on us, making us better salespeople, helping us further our career so we can bring more deals back to you, because it's a win-win. If you help me generate more leads, I'm going to bring them back to you. Does that answer the question, I hope?
I think it did. That's a great answer. Thank you very much. Nathaniel, you want to take the next question?
Yes, of course. Thank you. So, you mentioned something about how not to appear desperate. So naturally, in a time like this where the mechanisms, there's only a few mechanisms. So maybe you can address email, text messages, phone calls, and maybe this may even be a good time to talk about the 4 quadrants that the course sometimes talks about how to approach your agents and not sound desperate.
Perfect. So and this could be a realtor too. Like, realtors felt desperate while we were locked in the pandemic. Like, if I keep calling my database, do I look desperate? And lenders calling us realtors, do I look desperate? Here's the thing that I will tell you guys as lenders. Again, we're always looking to get better, or most realtors are, so you could bring us some stuff of value. This is how I coach our lenders. Come up with a marketing calendar, and every month you have a topic. Let's say this month you're going to teach on time management. So if you call me every Monday, like we teach our lenders to do, bring me a time management tactic 4 Mondays in a row. So if you get my voicemail, say, hey, we're working on time management this month, I would suggest start time and go home time. If you get a minute, call me back. If not, I'll call you with step number 2 next week. Click. I mean, you could take what I just gave you guys and drip on these people, right? So that's not desperation. Hey, I'm trying to help you, okay? Realtors can do the same thing when they're calling their database. You're dripping on them, and when we were all locked in the pandemic, a lot of people just wanted to talk to somebody. Let's be honest, if you had small kids, you were locked in your house, you're like, oh, I just want to talk to a human, right? Or I don't want to be the school teacher anymore. And so when we were calling our database, we were just calling to say, how are you feeling, right? We really weren't selling them. We were saying, how are you feeling? You still loving your house? Because a lot of people, when you call them, they're like, oh my gosh, the walls are closing in. It's really small here with all of us at home. And so it opened the conversation for real estate, right? So for a realtor calling a database, offer them a free comparative market analysis. I know you may not want to be moving right now, but you may be curious what's going on in the market. I'll send it over. Or if somebody said, hey, when this is over, we do want to sell, send them 10 tips to get their house ready to sell. So again, bring value. Realtor or lender, when you're calling each other or calling your clients, bring something of value that will further enhance my situation or help me get through this situation. And that kind of, for me, gets rid of the desperate situation. As a lender calling realtors, we talk about the 4 points of sale, and I don't know if this is what Nathaniel was talking about.
4 points. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
So the first one is when you call, you are just initial contact, just trying to get them on the phone, right? The second thing is building rapport. Find the common denominator, the connection. We were talking about earlier being a runner, and the sponsor today was also a runner, and so we got in a conversation about that. So find the connection. That's building your rapport, okay? And then closing for the appointment, or offering them to come to a class like this, or, you know, I'd love to do a book club with you. Give them something, right? You're closing them. And then the last one is follow up. So if you say, hey, I'm going to call you next week, you got to call them next week. So that's the 4 points of sale that we walk through. So when you're making calls to your clients, remember those 4 things. Initial contact, once you have them on the phone, now we got to build some rapport, right? And then we want to close them for an appointment or give them something of value. And then we want to make sure we follow up.
Thank you, Kendra. I have another one here. This is a little bit of a tender question, so I'm not sure, kind of a delicate one, but as I'm reading it, I'm thinking a lot about some of the students that you coach, and this may be more driven towards maybe real estate agents, maybe lenders, but you talked about taking care of yourself and managing stress levels, and if you don't take care of yourself, you're not good for anybody. So the question is, if you're currently struggling with volume in business, naturally, that will create a certain level of stress. So it almost seems like an oxymoron to a degree. How do I take care of myself, but at the same time, if I'm struggling for business, not focus on business?
Got it. Most of you that are being overworked right now are understaffed. That's pretty simple. Okay. So if you're a realtor and you're a team of 1, which we all start there, and you're chasing the business and you're scared of losing the business, how do you take care of yourself? I promise you 30 minutes in the morning to walk around the block, or to sit in meditation, or whatever you do to take care of yourself will change your perspective throughout the day. What I find is, and I've been, you know, I'm fit and I have been most of my life, but there have been times that I got out of it. And I can tell you, before I found the core, I was working about 80 hours a week and I gained a lot of weight and I was not taking care of myself. And what I realized was I was being reactive to everything instead of proactive. And what I think I could suggest, if this will help you, is, you know, start yourself in the morning of just with clarity, maybe a gratitude journal, 3 things you're grateful for. Very simply, just get out of the rush, being reactive, being in a negative mindset of I've got all these things to do and only this time to get it, and go to the positive place first. It will help throughout the day. So I would always say do your personal time in the morning. I think that sets the tone. But then if you are someone who has 1 or 2 employees or staff and you're understaffed, gosh, guys, there's 40,000 people unemployed right now. And there's some great talent out there. So we are working with a lot of our students to help them getting some people hired. And that's what we teach in the core. We teach 3 things: how to prospect, which I've given you some great tactics today on how to prospect, how to build a team, right, and how to be financially sound. And so those are really the 3 pillars that we teach on. So once you've maxed yourself out, and we have some parameters around that, realtor and lender, how many deals you can do by yourself, then we would move into the team mode. So a lot of people that are feeling frustrated or burned out is because they're understaffed, or maybe they don't have the systems and structure in place to take care of everything because they've got a lot of balls in the air. And I can tell you, I was that person. I was writing notes on leads on sticky notes. They were all over my wall. You know, pink was this, yellow was that. It was awful. And I can tell you that there is life after crazy real estate and lending with some systems and some structure.
Okay, great. Now, we have another question, and actually it's kind of 2-part here. Do open house flyers really work, you know, or do you guys just agents just throw them in the trash? And then and the second part of this question is, when lenders or loan originators come to visit open houses to generate business, is that something that's welcomed, you know, by agents, or kind of what your own opinion is on that?
Yeah, so the flyers, are we talking about the lender producing flyers to be in the open house?
Yes, or just the open house flyers on that particular home with lending options.
Okay, so here's what I will tell you. The lender flyers are more for unrepresented buyers. And so when they come tire kicking, if you will, in our open houses, and we say, have you been pre-approved? And they're like, no, that's when I would personally, and I would think that's how we coach, to use those flyers. Because first of all, we want them to get pre-approved before they fall in love with the house. But more importantly, a lot of times, you guys know this as well as I do, people go house shopping not knowing what they can qualify for. And they're like, oh, we pay $800 a month. And they're looking at a house that's a $4,000 a month payment. It's like, yeah, this isn't going to work, right? So the other thing that I will tell you is I don't want to do the loan officer's job. Okay. Yes, I know how to follow up, figure out a payment. And yes, I know how to amortize taxes and insurance. I don't want to do that, right? That's not my job. So I love having those little cheat sheets in there. I will tell you probably 90% of the realtors don't take them if the realtor's showing the house, but if they're in there for an open house and a buyer comes in unrepresented, that's probably who's taking them. So that's the answer on that one. The second one, I think for me personally, open houses, I hope they don't become a thing of the past, but when a lender shows up there, you know what, for me personally, it shows me that they're working hard and they would work hard for my client. They would show up. Now, I don't want to hanging out, scooping up all my clients on the sidewalk and, sidetracking them from coming to the house. But if they show up, and if I'm doing a partnership, if I have a lender and they and I go do an open house together, and we know it's going to be a hot area and there might be 15 or 20 people in there, I would love to have another set of eyes and hands in there. I mean, as a realtor, we have a lot of responsibility in those open houses. Yes, you tell sellers to put stuff away, but things grow legs. And, as a female in an open big house by myself, I welcome somebody hanging out there with me, So I think if you were going to just pop in, I would pop in, introduce yourself, see if you can be of value and leave, and maybe follow up with that agent after the open house is over on the next day or something to see if you could be of value to them.
Okay, great. Thank you. Nathaniel, you want to take the next one?
Yes, thank you. So the next question is regarding actual open houses, ironically enough. What are the best methods for loan officers or lenders rather, to team up with their realtor partners now that we're facing some social distancing issues?
Yeah, so that's why I've been saying I hope this, the open house aspect comes back. We taught a lot of our realtors to do the Matterport virtual tours and host live events on Facebook and do the walkthrough with the tours. So I know a lot of the open houses have gone away, but if you as a LO have a real estate partner that you're very close to, that you're in communication with, let them know, hey, I'll do an open house with you. I mean, listen, a tray of cookies from Publix or Harris Teeter or wherever you get them, $5 and some mini waters. I mean, it's hot in Florida this time of year, so you could take a 12-pack of water and some cookies and your flyers and be there. And again, be a resource if it's a busy, hot area and you're going to have multiple people in there. So I think partnering lender and a realtor to go into an open house, I don't see that as a bad thing and never did. I mean, I did a lot of new construction, so I would love for a lender to come in and hang out with me, on Saturdays and Sundays and help people. And I will tell you, they got a lot of pre-approvals from being
So
there.
if I could kind of fine tune that one, I think maybe where the thought process was is, we talked about movie events, bowling events, as sometimes agents, and charity events that agents would do with loan officers. Since there are some social distancing concerns now with COVID-19, what are some other teamed events that lenders can do with agents?
Oh, I gotcha. Okay, so let's see, COVID, team events, outings.
Tough one.
Yeah, let me think. So you could do, if you're talking about small groups, you could do ice cream social at your office, and do hours from 2 to 4 and, have space it out a little bit. We still did the pie giveaway. Obviously before COVID, but you could schedule, like if you wanted to do a pie giveaway, the lender and the realtor, like Thanksgiving pies, pumpkin pies, whatever, invite this group to come between 1 and 2 and this group to come between 2 and 3 and kind of space it out so everybody doesn't get there at the same time. I think you just have to be more in small groups, if you will. Like right now, I think in North Carolina, we can do groups of 50. So I would do more stuff at like parks, sponsor a food truck, an ice cream truck, do some things in your parking lot at the office. Because yeah, we did baseball games, we've done movies, we've done food drives, coat drives, shred day. We're in a shred truck, have people come and bring their stuff to be shredded. So I would be doing most of my stuff outside for a while for sure, and do it in smaller groups.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Kendra, thank you so very, very much. This is wonderful, very informative, and I think it's a great way to end a Friday afternoon, quite frankly. So it was wonderful. I want to also again thank Essen as our sponsor here today, Candace Racine, and I am going to turn it over to Gino Morrow, our FAMP president, for final words.
Thank you, Linda, and thank you, Kendra. That was a phenomenal presentation, just filled with tons of ideas. I am sure some of us on here will be looking at this video a few times to pick content from it. That was really great. And I want to remind everyone that if you are an FAMP member, you can access this on our website by logging in to kind of go through it again, since there was so much valuable information in here. And if you're not, don't worry, you're going to be receiving an email from us with a promotion to allow you to join easily. So I want to thank everyone for joining us on this call today. Thank you for the content. Thank you to Essen for, again, sponsoring FAMP. What a wonderful partner. And you guys all have a phenomenal weekend and lots of profit next week.
Thank you, guys.
Kendra. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.